What if one of the most famous families in reality television suddenly had a problem that money, celebrity connections, and millions of social media followers couldn't immediately fix? A brand new Kardashian-connected reality series is about to premiere, and yet fans have already spotted a social media clue that has triggered a surprisingly uncomfortable question. Where is everybody? The show is called The Girls, a Khloé Kardashian Project. It is built around Khloé Kardashian's close circle of friends, women who are already connected to her world, already familiar with fame, and now being introduced as the stars of their own reality series. Hulu describes the show as a 6-part series about friendship, motherhood, business, relationships, and life in the public eye. The cast includes Natalie Halcrow, Khadija Hack, Malika Hack, Iris Palmer, Olivia Pearson, and Nicole Williams English, with Khloé Kardashian serving as an executive producer. On paper, this sounds almost impossible to fail. You have the Kardashian name. You have Hulu. You have a built-in audience. You have recognizable personalities. And at the center of it all is Khloé Kardashian, one of the most recognizable reality TV figures in America. But then fans looked at the show's social media presence, and something didn't add up. According to reporting published ahead of the premiere, the show's official TikTok account had attracted only hundreds of followers at the time it was examined, with one report putting the figure at just 368. That number immediately became a talking point among online viewers, especially because Khloé herself has an enormous social media audience. And that is where the word flop entered the conversation. But let's be extremely clear about something before we go any further. The show has not actually flopped. It hasn't even premiered yet. That distinction matters. Calling an unreleased television series a failure based on a follower count would be premature. There are no official audience numbers yet. There is no verified premiere rating to analyze. There is no streaming completion data proving viewers aren't interested. And there is certainly no evidence at this point that Hulu has decided the project is unsuccessful. What exists right now is something much more interesting, a perception problem. Fans are looking at the numbers and asking why the excitement doesn't appear to match the Kardashian brand. And in today's entertainment industry, perception can become a story long before the ratings arrive. That is the real story, because the Kardashian empire helped create the modern reality TV model in which social media, television, celebrity culture, and audience participation are all connected. The family's original reality series, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, premiered in 2007 and eventually became a massive cultural phenomenon. The family's rise also coincided with the explosive growth of social platforms, helping transform celebrity visibility into a year-round business rather than something that existed only when television cameras were rolling. So when a new show carrying the Kardashian name appears to struggle to generate obvious social media momentum before its debut, people naturally start asking whether something bigger is changing. Is the audience tired of Kardashian-style reality television? Is the problem that viewers don't know the women at the center of this new series well enough? Is the marketing failing to communicate why audiences should care? Or is this simply an example of the internet making a mountain out of a very small number? And perhaps the most important question of all is this: could the very thing that made the Kardashians unstoppable, their constant presence on social media, now be making it harder to create a must-watch reality show? Because there is an important historical lesson here. Years ago, reality television had a major advantage. Television was where the story happened. Viewers waited for the next episode to discover what their favorite celebrities were doing. The suspense was built into the weekly schedule. But that world has changed. Today, audiences can see celebrity relationships unfold on Instagram. They can watch TikTok clips before a television episode airs. They can read headlines about a breakup before the cameras have finished editing the episode. They can follow someone's life in real time. The Kardashians themselves were among the pioneers of this social-first celebrity culture. And that creates an extraordinary paradox. The same digital ecosystem that helped make the Kardashian family one of the most powerful entertainment brands in the world can also make a traditional reality show launch much harder. Because now a trailer isn't enough. A famous name isn't necessarily enough. And even millions of followers don't automatically translate into millions of viewers. That is why the seemingly tiny social media clue has attracted so much attention. The question isn't really whether the girls has already failed. It hasn't. The question is whether the early online response is warning us about a deeper problem, one that could affect not only Khloé Kardashian's new project, but the future of Kardashian-style reality television itself. And over the next several parts of this investigation, we're going to break down exactly what is known, what isn't known, why fans are reacting this way, what Hulu is actually selling with this series, and why the difference between celebrity fame and viewer investment could be the most important detail of all. Because there is a huge difference between knowing someone's name and actually wanting to spend 6 hours watching their life. That difference may determine whether the girls becomes the next Kardashian success story or simply another reality TV experiment that disappears into the streaming universe. And right now, before the first episode has even aired, fans are already watching the numbers. To understand why the story has generated so much curiosity, we first have to understand exactly what the girls, a Khloé Kardashian Project, is supposed to be. This isn't simply another season of the Kardashians. It isn't a conventional Kardashian family spin-off centered on Kim, Kourtney, Kylie, or Kendall. Instead, Hulu is taking a different approach. The series moves the spotlight toward Khloé Kardashian's inner circle. According to Hulu's official description, the women at the center of the project are building businesses, raising families, and dealing with relationships and personal challenges while remaining connected through their friendship with Khloé. The official cast includes Natalie Halcrow, Khadija Hack, Malika Hack, Iris Palmer, Olivia Pearson, and Nicole Williams English. That distinction is extremely important. The concept isn't simply, watch Khloé Kardashian. It is closer to, come inside Khloé Kardashian's world and meet the women who are already part of it. And strategically, that is an intriguing idea. Khloé has spent years surrounded by people who have appeared in the Kardashian universe, whether through friendships, family connections, business, parties, or previous reality TV appearances. Some of the women featured in The Girls are not complete strangers to audiences. Malika and Khadija Hack, for example, have long been associated with Khloé and the wider Kardashian world. Other cast members have established their own careers and social media identities. But there is a major difference between being recognizable inside the Kardashian ecosystem and being recognizable enough to carry a television show. That is the gamble Hulu is taking. And it's a gamble that reality television has attempted many times before. The history of celebrity spin-offs is filled with projects that looked logical on paper because the central personality was already famous. But television fame doesn't always transfer. A supporting character can be fascinating when surrounded by a larger ensemble and still struggle when suddenly asked to become the central attraction. That's not an insult. It's simply how entertainment works. Audiences don't necessarily watch because they recognize a face. They watch because they become emotionally invested in a story. And this is where The Girls faces its first major challenge. The show is asking viewers to invest in several women who, for many potential viewers, may not yet have an established emotional relationship with the audience. Hulu's own promotional language emphasizes friendship, motherhood, business, dating, personal reinvention, and the dynamics within the group. The premise is intentionally more intimate than a traditional celebrity spectacle. That could be its greatest strength, or its biggest weakness. If audiences connect with these women as real people, the series could build an identity that exists independently of the Kardashian brand. But if viewers see it merely as another extension of Kardashian television, they may ask a much tougher question. That question isn't new. In fact, the Kardashian family's television history demonstrates exactly how complicated that transition can be. When Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered in 2007, the family was nowhere near the global commercial empire it would eventually become. The series initially offered viewers a chaotic family dynamic, humor, arguments, relationships, and everyday conflicts inside an unusually wealthy Los Angeles family. The show eventually became one of the defining reality TV franchises of its era. But the television landscape changed dramatically during the years that followed. The family didn't just become famous. They became their own media companies. Their businesses grew. Their social platforms grew. Their ability to communicate directly with audiences grew. And eventually, the distinction between Kardashian television and Kardashian social media became increasingly difficult to separate. That history is essential to understanding today's controversy, because when a Kardashian-related show launches in 2026, it is no longer entering the same media environment that existed when Keeping Up with the Kardashians began. In 2007, viewers needed television to see the Kardashian family. In 2026, viewers can see Kardashian-related content almost everywhere. That means a new series has to answer a much harder question. What can television give me that social media cannot? And that question may be hanging over the girls before the premiere even arrives. Part 1. Why the social media clue matters. Now let's return to the number that started the conversation. The reported TikTok following. According to recent reporting, the official account associated with the new show had only 368 followers at the time it was examined. For an ordinary television project, that might not necessarily mean very much. A brand new account can grow quickly. A marketing campaign can accelerate overnight. A television show can become popular through clips, recommendations, press coverage, and word of mouth. But this isn't an ordinary television project. This is a Kardashian-connected production. And that is why the number caught people's attention. Khloé Kardashian has an enormous social media following of her own, meaning the contrast between the celebrity's personal reach and the apparently modest following of a show's dedicated account creates an obvious visual story. The comparison is irresistible to the internet. Millions of followers on one side, hundreds on the other. And suddenly people are asking whether the audience is really interested. But there is an important journalistic caution here. A social media follower count is not a television rating. It doesn't measure how many people will watch the premiere. It doesn't measure how many people will finish an episode. It doesn't measure Hulu's subscriber behavior. And it doesn't tell us how much money the series cost to produce or what internal performance target Hulu has established. In other words, the number is a clue. It is not a verdict. That distinction is critical. Yet social media numbers can still matter because they reveal something different: pre-release awareness and engagement. A successful entertainment campaign often tries to build anticipation before the premiere. Trailers circulate, clips spread, fans create memes, people debate the cast. Entertainment outlets publish stories. Viewers start recognizing the show's title. And increasingly, platforms such as TikTok can function as free promotional engines. So when a new reality show has limited visible traction on one major social platform, observers may reasonably ask whether its marketing is reaching the audience effectively. But again, that does not automatically mean the campaign has failed. There could be multiple explanations. Perhaps the account is new. Perhaps the marketing strategy is focused elsewhere. Perhaps Hulu is intentionally relying on Khloé's existing audience rather than trying to build the show's TikTok account independently. Perhaps the show will gain momentum closer to the premiere. And perhaps the audience simply doesn't care about TikTok numbers. All of those possibilities remain open. In fact, there is evidence pointing in the opposite direction. The show's Instagram presence has reportedly attracted considerably more followers, with reports placing it around the tens of thousands. Some online fans have also expressed genuine excitement about the project, with supporters saying they have been waiting to see Khloé's inner circle receive more attention. So the picture isn't simply, nobody wants this show. The picture is much more complicated. Some fans are skeptical. Some are excited. Some appear indifferent. And the social media numbers are being interpreted differently depending on what people already think about Kardashian television. That is exactly why the story deserves a closer look. Because the internet has already reached a conclusion, but the data hasn't. And those two things are not always the same. There is another layer to the story that goes far beyond one TikTok account. For years, the Kardashian family has been unusually good at turning attention into entertainment. They understood early that the audience didn't necessarily need to wait for television. Their lives could become content. Their businesses could become content. Their relationships could become content. Their controversies could become content. Their family celebrations could become content. Their social media posts could become content. That approach helped create an entertainment machine that could operate 24 hours a day. But there is a paradox inside that machine. When viewers can see so much of a celebrity's life before an episode airs, the television show itself has to offer something extra. The audience needs a reason to sit down and watch. This problem was identified years ago. A 2017 analysis in Vanity Fair pointed out that Kardashian-related social media could sometimes reveal events long before viewers saw them on television, creating a situation where the show risked feeling like old news by the time an episode aired. That was nearly a decade ago. Imagine how much more intense that problem can become now. TikTok didn't have the cultural dominance it has today. Short-form video was not nearly as central. Streaming was still evolving. The modern creator economy was nowhere near its current scale. Today, viewers are conditioned to consume entertainment instantly. A dramatic clip can appear on their phone at breakfast. A relationship update can become viral before lunch. A reaction video can be online within minutes. And a full episode can arrive on a streaming service without the audience having to wait until next week. The old rhythm of reality television has been completely disrupted. That means The Girls isn't just competing against other reality shows. It is competing against the entire internet. Every TikTok, every Instagram reel, every YouTube video, every celebrity podcast, every viral news story, every streaming series, every other piece of content fighting for the same few minutes of an American viewer's attention. And that may be the most important context behind the flop before it starts headline. The show isn't necessarily failing. It is entering an environment where being famous is no longer enough. You need a hook. You need characters audiences care about. You need moments people want to share. You need conflict without manufacturing something fake. You need authenticity without sacrificing entertainment. And above all, you need viewers to feel that they are getting something they cannot get somewhere else. That is an enormous challenge, but it is also an enormous opportunity. Because if The Girls succeeds, it could prove that Kardashian television still has room to expand beyond the immediate family. It could establish a new generation of reality personalities. It could turn supporting figures into stars in their own right. And it could demonstrate that the Kardashian brand still has the power to create entirely new entertainment franchises. But if audiences don't connect, the opposite lesson could emerge. The Kardashian name might still be incredibly powerful. The individual celebrity brands might still be enormous. The businesses might still be thriving. But perhaps viewers are becoming more selective about which Kardashian stories deserve their time. And if that is happening, it would represent a significant shift in the reality TV landscape. In other words, this is not supposed to be simply another Kardashian family show. It is supposed to be a show about the women around Khloé, and that distinction may determine whether viewers embrace the concept or reject it, because there is a fundamental difference between being part of someone's world and being the reason people tune in. For years, fans have seen these women appear around the Kardashian family. Some have been friends of Khloé for years. Some have built their own businesses. Some already have substantial social media audiences. Some have previous experience in television or entertainment. But the question is whether that familiarity translates into sustained interest. A viewer might recognize someone immediately and still not feel compelled to watch their personal life for 6 episodes. That isn't unusual. Reality television is filled with personalities who became memorable supporting characters but struggled to become central stars. The audience relationship has to be rebuilt. And that is exactly what The Girls is attempting. Khloé Kardashian is not simply appearing as a random celebrity guest. Her involvement is fundamental to the concept. The official title itself identifies the project as a Khloé Kardashian Project, and Hulu lists her among the show's executive producers. Press.hulu.com. That creates an obvious advantage. Khloé already has a massive audience. She has years of television experience. She understands reality storytelling. She knows how to turn personal conversations into compelling television. And she has an established relationship with viewers that goes back to the earliest days of keeping up with the Kardashians. From a production standpoint, putting Khloé behind a new reality series therefore makes sense. She knows the format, she knows the